Good morning, everyone. Early birds, getting worms. What's up? Hey, it's the board meeting. We're all sleepy, but we're here to play with birds. I'm gonna go ahead and introduce myself and then throw it to my folks. But before I do that, we acknowledge that in Milwaukee, we live and work on traditional Potawatomi, Ho-Chunk, and Menominee homelands along the southwest shores of Michigami, part of North America's largest system of freshwater lakes, where the Milwaukee, Menominee, and Kinnickinnic rivers meet, and the people of Wisconsin's sovereign Anishinaabe, Ho-Chunk, Menominee, Oneida, and Mohican nations remain present. So, what's up, fam? None of us are early birds, but we're here anyway. My name is Janelle Malagong. I'm a second-year PhD, and I don't do mornings super good, except when I have to teach at 8 o'clock in the morning. How about you, fam?
Well, yeah, I'm not much of a morning person either, even though it's like late right now, but I'm still kind of tired. But I'm Chris. I'm a PhD candidate at UW-Milwaukee, currently working on my dissertation, which is about Nicholas Winding Refn, the Danish director, as a paratext. So that's me.
Cool. I'm Desiree, and I'm a second-year MA student, and I am astonished that I actually pulled myself out of bed 15 minutes ago to be here now.
I'm so proud of you. Like, you're doing amazing work. Everybody here is doing great work. All right, fam. I'm gonna play some birds. I see it's my turn. Des, are you in here? Because there still has a question mark on your face.
I'm here.
Okay, cool.
And I see you guys.
Okay, good. That's all that matters.
It might. The question mark, I think, will go away once it cycles through.
Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Turn. I'm not 100% sure about that, but
I have no idea. But we're here. Okay, so what I should look at what the game is asking me to do, which is put eggs on birds that have sticks. None of these have sticks. Yeah. That's not very helpful.
Get wrecked.
That's kind of how I feel. I'm not sure why I'm getting wrecked. I just got here. Kind of what's up with that, you know? All right, I guess we'll just do this, birds. That's fine. I'm not gonna take it fucking personally or anything.
Yeah, no, we can see that you're not taking this personally.
Ooh, this is I love getting new bonus cards that I haven't seen before. Interesting. No, that's too risky. It's too early for such a risk.
No idea what you're talking about, but I'm loving the energy.
I'm here to just throw energy until it becomes real energy. For now, it's just shouting into a void and hoping that someone is awake and that someone is me.
Fake it till you make it.
That's number one teaching advice with the cast board meeting.
Oh.
Fake it till you make it.
Exactly.
Oh.
So I've been doing my entire life.
And it hasn't not worked so far.
Well,
I don't know. We're getting PhDs.
I don't know about that, but...
It's fine. It's fine.
Supposedly, we'll find out.
Oh,
there
God.
can always be something that goes wrong.
Oh, you know.
And then I always see like these great tweets about, you know, how the future of academia is basically like the gig economy, and it's like, oh, good.
It's like, oh, okay.
And,
okay, if you're sure.
I'm so happy about that.
So good.
All right, so I do have one bird with sticks, so that's good. What's in the second thing? All right,
it's a cavity nest.
Box nest, yeah. And then birds in the forest, and then all over. Okay, so I think that's good. So what do I need? I definitely need this. And then I definitely need this. And then, let's see, what have I got for my bonuses? I got large bird specialist, birds with wingspans over 65 centimeters, which is 35% of cards. Or breeding manager, birds with at least 4 eggs laid on them. I'm going with the large bird specialist.
Nice.
'Cause, yeah.
So I had a kind of magical experience yesterday, in large part because of this game. So, when I said that Christina and I had played a couple times, that was a lie. We've played a shit ton since I got this game.
Just too much.
It's just kind of like oppressively good. So, that's what we're doing, and we went on a walk yesterday, which in the times of Corona is like a novelty. So we went on a walk, and the area that I live in has like so many wonderful woodland creatures that we saw like a ton of birds on our walk, and they had like a whole bunch of bird songs. We were like, oh my god, like what kind of bird is that? Is it talking to me? Does it have, can I give it a worm or maybe some fish? My point is that we were able to pick out bird songs because of like listening to the songs in this game, and like I was like, oh, I think that one's like a robin sound, which sounds super dumb, but I'm from a city where we don't do shit like that, so it's kind of a big deal.
That's so charming.
It felt very idyllic, very pastoral.
Very nice. Good use of the word idyllic too, by the way.
All right, I think it's like you don't even have a stick nest, but honestly, I think you're my best shot here.
Belted kingfisher. A kingfisher burrow can go up to 6 feet into a riverbank and slopes to shed water.
I think if there's one thing you learn from this game is that birds are like scary, you know? They do like kind of crazy shit. Like they're like there's that one bird that's like they crowd in millions, which is just like horrifying.
Yeah, I cannot fathom.
Yeah.
Like what does
Or
it
they
even look
vomit
like?
to protect themselves.
Oh no. Yeah, that's not a good one. Like this kingfisher can burrow up to 6 feet into a riverbank. It's like, do you breathe underwater? Like, are you a bird still? I'm not sure.
So annoying when the bird fact isn't about the bird.
I know. What's all that about?
Just placed a little bird. And my fun fact is John Graham Bell taught taxidermy to future U.S. President Theodore Roosevelt.
Wow.
I don't care.
That is just like the most irrelevant fact to that bird. So the only association between that fact and that bird is that the guy that taught taxidermy saw the bird once.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem like a good reason to associate this man with this bird.
Well, to be fair, he's probably a white guy.
Yup, that's exactly right. That's exactly right. You don't understand. It's a form of privilege. Oh. Alright, let's put some eggs on this kingfisher.
Worms. Thanks for the worms. I appreciate it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, actually though, I'm not sure whose worm gave us that, but man, thank you. I think it might have been this owl that's just kind of here.
Yeah. I appreciate their service.
So also, the fair warning, the normal and hard AIs are really hard. I got like wrecked by a whole bunch of AI. It did not feel good.
Oh yeah, I have never won against the AI on normal.
Yeah, like, why are they so aggressive? Like, I'm just here to play birds. And they're here, like, just doing, like, calculations.
It's the rise of the machines.
I have genuinely never felt more sure that there was going to be a robot uprising that would result in the extinction of humanity as when I was playing against the normal mode AI on this game.
Well, as learned from season 1 of Mystery Science Theater, nobody expected the robot Holocaust. So that's from all MST fans out there.
Do I do this? I don't know. What do I do? I'm gonna discard an egg. Sorry, man. No, not yours. Come back. You need that one.
I need a damn mouse. That's all I need.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Ooh.
wanna like re-roll that food thing next turn.
I was gonna do it on my next turn, but now I can't because there's not doubles.
Boo.
Ooh.
Fix it, AI. No, okay. Thanks. Thanks, it's fine.
Put an egg there. Put an egg there.
There is
Wow.
a bird that doesn't have a nest. That's so interesting. Cowbirds do not make their nests. They lay their eggs in other birds' nests.
Yeah, some birds are weird like that.
This bird
Okay,
just
at
basically
least-
bust into your house and was like, I'm sorry, I live here now.
Raise my kids.
Actually, I'm gonna go. Can you just raise them?
You just take care of that for me. Thanks.
You can handle that. I have absolute faith in you.
That's a lot of
Thanks,
faith.
bye-bye.
Hmm.
Brown-headed cowbird. Cowbirds do not make nests. They lay their eggs in other birds' nests.
A cowbird just sounds like something else. It's not this cute little bird I'm looking at.
Just a big cow with wings.
I hope so.
It's the latest D&D animal, I guess. Alright, so you need eggs there, buddy. So I guess I'll give you some eggs. Ooh, and then I get to look at a thing from the deck. Let's see. Oh, don't get that, though. Alright, that was me.
Alright. This is a bit of a rough turn. I'm not getting any of the kind of nests that I need.
It's terrible when that happens.
Yeah.
And it happens in this game. It's really frustrating. On another note, I played Gloomhaven over the weekend.
How do you like it?
Of the American
I thought it was really great. It does a really good job of like remediating the dungeon crawler video game experience into the board game setting, which is cool.
That's very cool.
Mm-hmm.
Gloomhaven is on my list of games that, I mean, I'm not gonna get it. I'm not made of money, but I will get a digital version of it.
Yeah, well, there's a free version on Tabletop Simulator.
Yeah, I saw that. I wasn't sure like how good it was. It's interesting because I have no idea which one came first, like the digital edition or the Tabletop Simulator edition. And I'm just curious. Like, I feel like those are two very, very different experiences. Like, based on, say, this game and the TTS version of Wingspan, I feel like these are just totally, totally different.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because the version of Gloomhaven that I played was like super scripted, and you know if you just like put it like once you pick your character, you just put the character card on this little spot in your board, and it just populates everything for you.
Oh, cool.
And it'll figure out like who's going first based on initiative. It figures out like the scores at the end. It's really nice.
That's really cool.
But as I was playing, I'm just like, God, I'd hate to have to calculate all this crap on my own.
Yeah, man, seriously, that is one of the reasons I'm so reluctant to get it. I feel like it's an additional labor just to score.
Like, I love Wingspan, and I have the physical copy, but I've not played the physical copy yet because there's so many parts.
Yes, that's totally fair. It's like, because the other Stonemaier game I play a lot is Scythe, and that's got a ton of moving parts. In Wingspan, the big thing is like having that player board in a way that's manageable. Like if you have a big board game table, it's not so bad because you gotta keep an eye on your eggs and stuff. But more often than not, my dice tower falls apart halfway through a game as someone inevitably like, picks it up to re-roll. It's like just the bottom comes off. It's like, okay, just put that back quick.
All right. I have gained food
Nice.
from the feeder.
Ooh, that's a full feeder now.
Yes, I re-rolled.
Yay, thank you.
Ah, you're welcome.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Mississippi kite.
All right.
These birds mostly eat large insects, but they'll also eat rodents, bats, and birds.
Pretty sure I got a whopping 0 for this round.
Rip.
Yeah. Feels bad.
I managed to get one bird that I needed out there, so that's something.
Nice. I kind of just halfway through realized I was like, I'm gonna have at best one bird that works for this. I'm just gonna start working at the other ones.
And sometimes that's the best strategy, because then you come into those and it's like, you butt before it even starts.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
Guess I'll
another thing that's like kind of interesting about this game. Have either of you done the tutorial for the digital game?
Mm-mm.
I did when I first got it.
So I got this game and then immediately started playing with you all. So like I didn't understand the interface super well. And then I just kind of continued doing that. Like I just kind of kept playing. Oh, snap game. Nice. Maybe not totally 0. Yay. I got 1. Cool.
I'm still waiting for the score to pop up on my end.
It'll get there.
Yeah.
Here we go. So, I hadn't done the tutorial. I had played like quite a few games before I sat down to actually do the tutorial. And what was interesting is that when you go into it, it's like a woman guides you through it, and she says, oh, I forget what her name is. I think she said her name is Robin, and I'm like, of course it is. And she says that she's the guardian of this wildlife preserve, which leads me to think this, like, so then do we each have like a wildlife preserve, and are we then the guardian of this preserve? Hence how like some of us have like a little house in our area, and like maybe we live there because we're idyllic as fuck. But what I mean,
that's.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say that's. I know in the physical version, everybody gets their own little board that looks like this, and that's supposed to be like your preserve, and you're taking care of it.
It's so interesting because it positions you in this kind of like caretaker role. And then you have to then know all of these things about these birds, which is just interesting to kind of position you as a nature guide, sort of. But what's interesting too is that in the tutorial, she immediately is like, oh cool, you must be here to play Wingspan or something like that, like another Wingspan fan. And I'm like, wait, so like, are we playing Wingspan while at this nature preserve? Or is taking care of the nature preserve meant to be the game of Wingspan?
Oh no, it's getting too meta.
I was like, wait, because like I'm so interested in how tutorials sort of explain games, right? Like, how do they justify or tell you what you're doing, or sort of give a player a reason to do something? And it's so interesting that in this one, it's kind of like, it's not so much that you're just here to play the game. We all know what the game is, and we're just going to acknowledge it as it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I remember, because I'm somebody who grew up in the era of instruction manuals for games, and I find it so fascinating now that, like, when I buy it, like if I buy a physical copy of a game, which isn't often, but I do that, they don't come with instructions anymore. And I remember the first time I was just like, what the hell? But then the way they walk you through this is so interesting, and how they set it up. And sometimes they'll set it up in ways like you're talking about, where it'll be like, oh, welcome to the preserve. Let's go play some Wingspan. Whereas other times it'll just be like, oh, you need to kill these guys. Press this button.
Right.
And what's really interesting is, and this kind of ties into something that former co-host Dave Stanley and I have been talking about. Like with the physical version of Wingspan, there's even like cards and stuff. Like there's a little deck that comes with it. It's like, play the first game with this, because it'll walk you through it. And it's like, oh wow, okay. Which is really replicating that experience of playing a video game in a board game setting, which I find really interesting.
Absolutely. It is super interesting. Did you say that some board games don't come with instructions anymore?
No, I meant like video games.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
I
was talking about video games.
I totally agree. Yeah, no, I miss video game instructions. I feel like that is a useful thing that should be brought back, because not everybody learns from the kind of immersive tutorial that games are really leaning toward. And sometimes, I mean, so much, like, for example, we played Chaos in the Old World a bunch of times, right? And I don't think we ever got through a full game necessarily. But we referred to the manual so frequently, because there is a disconnect between like the actions that you're taking and the sort of rules that are being imposed on you in the world that's being generated by this game. So it's interesting when a video game is like, actually, we're not going to rely on any outside text at all. We are going to just keep everything internal to the world. That feels like a very different teaching move than having like a thing that you can hold in your hand while you're playing, for example, or that you can refer to while you're playing. For example, if you need to sort of remind yourself how to do something, it's really hard to do that in a game, especially if it's been a while, for example, since you played, and it's like, how the fuck do I do that again? It's hard to answer those questions unless, for example, it's something simple where it's like, open the button menu and look at it that way. But that doesn't really help you with process in the way that an instruction manual does.
Yeah, I just think it really, in some ways, and this is a half-formed thought, but in some ways it really points to like the different experience between playing a video game and playing a board game, because like with a board game, I find myself always looking at the instruction manual, whether it's like Chaos in the Old World or something like this. It's like, because I play so many board games, I don't always remember like how they work.
Right.
When I'm playing, so I always have to have the instructions there. Whereas with the video game, it's like a lot of times you can just go into you can press pause and look at the controls. And it's such a fundamentally different experience in so many ways, but I don't know where I'm going with that.
But it is fundamentally different, and I'm really curious. Like, I mean, you know me, I'm super interested in how people teach people things, so I'm really curious about how that sort of works for the player, right? Like, we're reading Bourdieu this week in Thomas's class, and so I'm really thinking about things like, how are these rules imposed? How are people encouraged to either adapt rules, follow rules, change rules, adapt to rules? Like, how do these things work, especially in game? So how do the sort of presentation of learning and the presentation of learning rules, how does that sort of encourage or discourage people from playing a particular way? And I don't know what to do with that, but I feel like that's kind of just what I'm interested in right now. And Wingspan is a really cool example because it has that hard copy tutorial version, which, I mean, I'm sure that maybe you've come across it, Chris. You played infinitely more board games than I have, but I had never come across something so robust, where there was a card that you can hold in your hand that says, here's what your first 5 turns look like if you're lost. And you don't even, it even says in the instructions, which is one of my favorite things. Thank you so much, Elizabeth Hargreaves. You're the best for doing this. There's in the instruction, it says, you don't need to read this whole manual if you're playing live for the first time with your friends. Just follow these cards and you'll be okay. That was just such an interesting way to go about saying, like, you don't need to read this entire book, which is often very, very intimidating for people that don't typically play board games, if there's like the fat manual to read.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, sometimes I'll get like a game that will like, even now, because I've been playing complex board games for a while now, But I will still, like, if I get, and it has a really long set of instructions, it's like, oh man, this is so intimidating. I don't know if I can handle this.
Mhm.
And so like when you have a game like Wingspan that gives you that sort of like video game tutorial kind of thing, I don't think that's common, but it should be. But I know like a lot of games, like because I have the games Burgle Brothers.
I think, Chris, you are either gone or breaking up a bunch.
Clash, and both of them suggest this is your first game.
Oh,
Oh no. Is he
there it
gone?
is back.
Chris,
Hello?
where'd you go? He'll
There
come
we go.
back. Yay, there you are.
Hey.
The thing was, not all the games will come with that like really in-depth tutorial, but like God Clash will start. It'll tell you, it's like, if this is your first game, one person should be Godzilla, one person should be Megalon, and you need two things. And then that'll be your first game. And Burgle Brothers is kind of the same way. It's like, if this is your first game, do this. So I think there's more like a shift toward incorporating something like that that'll help you ease into the.
You broke up at the end there, but yes, I totally agree. And it's interesting because I feel like a part of that requires like acknowledging that people learn differently, and that there are many different ways to learn and teach a game. And I wonder then, because I'm always curious, like who sort of writes these manuals, right? Like who's involved in the process of writing these manuals that teach people how to play games. And I don't know if there's like a clear answer to that. I assume it's to the people that are involved in creating the game, and then some kind of third party that probably reviews things. But I'm curious about what kind of conversations are had when it comes to, okay, so how are people going to learn this game? Because that's like a really critical part of any game design process. But in video games, it feels very much like there is a sort of typified tutorial process. And it's kind of what you were describing, Chris, where it's like there's like an immersive tutorial and you can refer back to like a button map maybe. But I'm not really sure like where the conversation's about like having a different tutorial. Like how do people sort of start thinking about these things? And I wonder too what makes people say like this, we need to go about teaching this game differently than other games. I think that there must have been some kind of conversation about that when Wingspan was being made, because I found that this game does teach you to play the game differently than other board games, if only because it acknowledges that there are different ways to learn. It could be reading the whole manual or following the specific instructions.
I'm going to drop out of the Discord for just a second because I think I'm going to try to pull it up on my phone.
Okay.
And see if that helps. So I'll be right back.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. I am putting eggs all over all my birds.
Chris is back.
Yay.
Hello, Chris.
Hello.
Hello. Hopefully this works better.
All right. I think this turn
That was like...
What duck is that?
So that was a cool...
Made me laugh. But just, I'm sorry to mean it.
What were you saying, Des?
That was a cool, productive discussion, but the name Godzilla came up briefly, and it reminded me of Kong versus Godzilla that's coming out soon. And I was just wondering who you guys thought would win.
Ooh.
Since I can't talk.
That's a good question, and I'm gonna let resident expert Chris Olson answer that question first.
So, I'm just gonna say that I am Team Zilla all the way. Love Kong, but
Sure.
I have been a big fan of Godzilla for many, many years now. And it's really interesting because there has been a Kong versus Godzilla film previously.
Really?
Yes, back in the 60s, in what was known as the Showa era of Godzilla, which ran from like 1954 to about 1974, 1975. They did a Kong versus Godzilla film using the Japanese version of King Kong, and Kong was the victor in that one. And
Okay.
so, what's interesting right now is the trailers show Kong as kind of the good guy in this, like
Yeah.
Godzilla's going nuts, but there's speculation that it might not actually be Godzilla that Kong's fighting.
I love that.
Interesting.
I don't want to go too deep into things because I don't want to spoil anything inadvertently because I haven't seen it, obviously. But if it is what I've been hearing, it's going to be awesome.
I feel
Cool.
like that's probably the best answer. And I will give my decidedly less good answer, which is that I saw King Kong a long time ago, have never seen Godzilla. However, I have been to Universal Studios a lot, and there is a King Kong ride there. There was an old one that was done away, and it was very good. Okay, the old one was fine. It was just a little old. No hate on OG Godzilla ride. And 2, there is a new Godzilla ride that is very, very good, and 10/10 for being very scary. With that in mind, I have seen King Kong beat the shit out of a dinosaur before. So I don't know, Godzilla. Like there is a precedent too for King Kong beating up dinosaurs, but I don't know. Does Godzilla breathe fire?
Oh yes.
He has a laser, yes.
Oh, he's got a laser. Yeah, no, it's Godzilla. I'm sorry. Did you say laser?
Thank you.
Well, but have you seen in the trailers? King Kong has a gigantic axe now.
Can the act
He's
deflect
still
lasers?
just a tall monkey. I feel like I'm going insane.
But does the axe somehow deflect lasers? Is it a magic
only looks
axe,
like
like a Thor situation?
It looks like it's all glowy and it I don't know, it looks awesome.
Okay, a little bit it's cheating to have a glowing axe. I'm just gonna go out there and say it. But my money's still on Godzilla. I mean, if my guy's got lasers, that feels like a kind of just from your body kind of power that maybe you've been working on over time, as opposed to this magic glowy axe. Of course, I've never seen this axe. I'm not trying to insult King Kong's prowess or ability to fuck shit up. That's not my goal here. But if my guy's got lasers, I think they're gonna win. It's a very
One of my
diplomatic
students
argument.
is-
Sorry.
One of my students is really insistent that King Kong is going to win, and it makes me feel like I'm going insane.
But
Like
what
I
is the
cannot
argument?
process the argument.
He did win in the first film, in the original Godzilla Kong.
Oh,
but
that definitely means
I will
he's
say-
not gonna win this time.
He doesn't deserve it. He's
well,
a tall monkey.
It's hilarious.
I will say this. He managed to, and I'm just laughing because it's so ridiculous. But he managed to win because he got electrocuted and had electric powers.
Okay.
Feller.
Okay, buddy. All right. I don't know about that. That feels like an underhanded victory. I feel like you didn't have these powers before. I don't know. I'm not here to make rules. Okay? I'm not here to enforce some shit, but I am here to say I don't know about all that.
Yeah. As you guys know by virtue of me never shutting up about it, I've seen every single movie The Rock has ever been in.
Mm-hmm.
I did that on purpose. And one of those movies is Rampage, which is about a tall monkey.
Oh my god.
And based on that tall, yeah, it's a giant gorilla. So I feel primed for this discussion. I know it's not the same
Mm-hmm.
bird or the same
Well-
monkey, but feels relevant.
Rampage is based on a video game,
Mhm.
which was itself inspired by like Godzilla and King Kong films. So I think it all ties together.
Yes.
I mean, that feels very useful. I'm using like, I don't know, rides for my reference. You have like a precedent that you're working with. I was like, I don't know, Goku's part monkey. I guess that like works as a reference point too. I don't know.
Yeah, I liked Rampage. I just think that George couldn't beat Godzilla in a fight.
I really
Well,
like
he
that you
beat
call him
the
George.
crocodile, and the big crocodile was supposed to be Godzilla, right?
Yeah, but he barely won.
True.
He needed
But then
help
he
from
also-
a human man.
Well, but a human man who is the Rock, so he's not like.
He's not just any human man. He's Boxer Santaris. Wait, what?
I mean, have you seen that guy?
I mean, I have seen that guy. Actually, have you guys seen that guy pumping up his daughter on TikTok? That shit was adorable. It was so cute.
Yeah.
He seems like a good dad.
He really does. 1010 would recommend Rock is a good dad.
Now, I will say too, Rampage also threw a flying wolf into the mix, so that messes things up too.
Did you say
I
flying
still-
wolf?
Yes.
Flying wolf.
What the fuck is that about exactly? What kind of reality do we all live in now?
The one where corporations are evil. So, you know, same as always.
Oh, okay, cool, no difference. Okay, cool, same. Oh, snap. Nice.
Bird. Just need a worm.
Des is one with the birds.
Oh, see. Oh, Des won another one.
Oh, you can't even be
I'm
surprised
shocked.
anymore.
I'm shocked, I tell you.
This has never happened
Okay.
before.
Give me a worm. Give me also a fish. Thanks,
Yay.
Kate.
Now, this is not to say that Godzilla doesn't have some wild monster in the film,
So wait,
but I'm just saying they didn't have a flying wolf.
okay, so the flying wolf was in a Godzilla movie?
No, this was in Rampage.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh my god, how
Rampage
much
had
happens
a
in
lot
that
going
movie?
on.
I can't, that was the same movie. I'm floored.
Yeah.
Rampage is bananas, but it's really fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
That is wild.
It was like it scratched that like kaiju smashing itch for me. And I was
Gotcha.
like, this is good.
Western meadowlark. This pretty bird
It was
I
fun. I
also
liked it
has
a lot.
beautiful
Yeah.
flute-like song.
I mean, I've been watching giant monster movies since I was a wee lad. I can remember vividly when I was about like probably 7 or 8, staying up for 24 hours and watching the Godzilla marathon on the movie channel. That's all it was called. It was just the movie channel. And yeah, it was pretty awesome.
That sounds
Very
super
nice.
awesome.
Why am I choosing food from somebody good?
Because hummingbird.
Yeah, gotta love that hummingbird.
No, you know what? I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take the. Alright.
Yay. That's not what I need.
It's not letting you reroll? There's only
No,
one left.
I did.
Very
That would
nice.
have been very sad. I did have that happen recently where it didn't let me reroll, and I like stared at it for a while and I could not figure out what rule would have made it so I couldn't reroll. But it was very odd.
Hmm.
Hey, my turn.
Yay.
Your turn.
Two birds. I'll take
Alright, well, Owl's not doing particularly well on this round.
No.
No.
In terms of tucking cards or what?
No, just birds in forest. My guy's got one.
Oof.
Oh,
That's rough, buddy.
he's all alone.
Yellow-headed blackbird. These blackbirds form huge flocks, especially in winter.
Ooh, I don't love the situation. Okay.
Oh, wow. Those are all big birds in our bird pile.
Yeah. I just want one that isn't a big bird.
Not today, I guess.
So a fun thing that I've noticed myself doing is whenever I have to spend an egg to do anything, I refer to it as a sacrifice. And I just think that's an interesting little thing that happens.
Well, I mean, technically it is a sacrifice, isn't it?
It totally
I think so.
is. And it feels
it's like-
really weird every time.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, it's not like you're spending an egg and getting the same kind of bird.
Exactly. A little bit. It's like that one bird. I don't know where I got him. This brown-headed cowbird. He just like goes in, lays eggs somewhere else, and then leaves. I assume then you go back and take those eggs at some point. Maybe you do leave them there to raise. But it feels really weird because, yeah, you don't get the same egg back, of course. But also it's like I'm stealing an egg from a different bird to create this other bird, and it feels very science-y in a way that I don't like.
Exactly.
I'm not a bird scientist. I shouldn't be able to do some kind of crazy alchemy like this.
I'm not a bird scientist. I'm just an unfrozen caveman lawyer.
Yeah, okay.
Has anybody been vaccinated yet?
I'm 50% vaccinated.
Yay. Do I
We're
want...
still trying to find out, like when we actually can get ours here in Illinois. So
Oof.
the whole thing.
Do I want to do this? I don't think I do. Yeah, get out of here. Okay.
Oh. No. Oh. Yes. There's comedy here. I'm about to grab the hummingbird out of the tray.
It is a very cute
and then I'm
hummingbird.
gonna feed it a mouse.
Oh,
Oh, are you?
interesting. How does the hummingbird do
That was
exactly?
my plan. Yeah, I don't know, but it's an omnivore, so mouse for hummingbird.
Mouse for hummingbird. That's like...
As I said, there is comedy here.
Ooh, okay. Thanks, hummingbird. I'm also gonna re-roll for the fam. Alright.
Give.
I gotta say, 10-10 on all of our
worth
bird
it.
choices. They're all very cute birds.
I don't have 2 eggs, so I don't have time. No, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. I'm gonna tuck this bad boy. Goodbye.
Boy, I hope somebody needs to feed their bird a rat.
I can make that happen. I just need one more egg.
Oh, what luck.
That's either very good or very bad.
I'm
It
frightened.
was very good.
Alright. Yay. You go here. I think I just gotta get food for you. Alright.
My turn. Or not. Is it? That's
This woodpecker has the weirdest name, 1010 official. It's the... I'm like so hesitant to say this on the internet. The red cock-a-dead woodpecker? My friend, what? Coming to a forest near you.
worm. I need another worm. Why? Well, now I can. There's my. So that's. Alright, fine, whatever.
Go to there. Oh, that doesn't make sense, does it? Yes, let's do that.
Red cockaded woodpecker.
Okay,
This
it
bird
says
is endangered due
cockaded,
to habitat
okay, and
loss.
I
There
think
may
that's
be fewer
false.
than 10,000.
That there is no suggestion in how this is spelled that is pronounced as cockaded.
Is that the woodpecker that you're talking about?
It is, and I'm like, I don't know, buddy. I don't know. I think revise the spelling there. I just also want to point out this woodpecker is black and white. I'm very confused. Normally bird names are pretty straightforward, and I feel a little deceived.
Understandable. All right, let's do this. Okay, you go there, and I feed you a little mouse. Bam, bam.
Huzzah!
Yay! Oh, that hummingbird is so cute.
Is it?
Oh, and the sound it makes is so nice. What? Oh, that's so cool. This game's the best. That's not what I meant to do. This is... There we go. I just unlocked an achievement? What on earth is this thing called? Money for nothing and chicks for free.
Busting out the old songs here. Oh my.
I know, right? Hummingbird bird. Okay. Give me a fish. Yes.
I would like the fish now, please.
With a bowl nest, you say. Here you go. Nice. Go team. Sucks to suck, owl. Yeah, bullying the AI is not the best way to encourage the normal AI not to kick your ass.
Yeah.
Three-way tie.
Hooray.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit of a close game.
Oh, how
Yeah.
does the AI already have 5 egg sets?
Ugh,
Oh,
they've been working on
man, do they have? Oh wow, they do. Jeez.
This
Okay.
is
It's just like a
Cool.
lot, but all right.
well.
All right, so now we're going for sets of eggs. Okay.
This bird's unusually shaped bill helps it feel prey in the water.
Let's do that. All right. Danger chunk here in the chat. That's a lot of birds. Yeah, the interface can be a little anxiety-inducing. If you've played the physical game, this might feel a little less overwhelming. If you're not watching the chat, guys, I got the player board version set up. This looks a bit more like what you might be familiar with if you were playing the physical version, and in my experience anyway, the interface is way less intimidating once you do the tutorial, which sounds like a well duh, but also it's not, because if you feel like you know how to play Wingspan, you might not be inclined to play the tutorial. But what's pretty sweet about that is that I didn't understand how the hell, like, this there's like a box here that'll show up when it's my turn that sort of tells me what's going on. Like, I did not understand how this box worked until I did the tutorial, because for Chris in particular, since you played the physical game, they do a really good job of keeping the action cubes like still useful and still using that as a way to measure the game. But I had a really hard time sort of tracking that on the interface until I did the tutorial.
Yeah. Well, and I will say, I have not played the physical version yet.
Oh.
I own it.
Oh.
I haven't played it.
I thought you had played the physical version. Well, that'll be really interesting for you to go play the physical version now that you've done this.
Yeah. I mean, I want to. I just want to get more. I want to wait till I can like do that with more people.
Oh, sure.
Because yeah, there's a lot to set up for just 2 people.
Yes, that is very true. These are not what I needed.
The game has a lot of pieces and gewgaws and other things.
Well, I guess we will do that then. Okay. Tuck something from
yeah,
hand.
I just need a bird that'll go in the water habitat, and I'm not getting there.
Rip.
Yeah, Danger Chunk makes a really good point. It's odd that a game about birds, which is typically associated with freedom and open space, is this cluttered. That's a really good point. And I think that they sort of try to work around that by giving you the chance to sort of like move in and out of the habitats like this, so it creates this sort of depth that of course you wouldn't get when you're looking at just a player board like this, which is again what like the physical player board kind of looks like. But it does, I mean, it still feels very cluttered, even though, and they clearly recognize that, because when you're not using, for example, these sort of tiles and spaces yet, they're like, the opacity is higher, or lower, I guess, so you can see sort of through them, so they seem to acknowledge that, but especially, like, for example, just alert, it's gonna get even more cluttered. When you do, like, the question mark, it just blows up with, like, descriptions of what's on the screen, and it's just like it's not helpful. It's the least, I'll take them away now, but it's like the least helpful thing, because it's just like, this is what this is and this is what this is, but that does not help me, and I just feel scared. Okay, so like, yeah, so like Danger Chunk, this thing down here took me forever to sort of follow this, but they use like the action cubes and stuff that are up here to track your actions. But boy, that took forever for me to understand, even though it seems like it would be very intuitive. Okay, I get to fish. Yay. Okay. What do we want to do? I guess we're just gonna get some food. Why wouldn't you give me the kind of food that I need? That's just a question that I have. Just generally asking for a friend.
Probably the same reason why it's not giving me any birds I can.
Yay. Okay. Okay. And do I want to do this?
I don't know, do you?
Ooh. No, I don't want to do that. I want to keep that bird. Danger Chunk says, the cards keep molting. Isn't that bad for birds? Yes. I mean, I know that birds are supposed to molt, but it's odd that whenever they're using their special ability, they're molting. Which is kind of funny.
Yeah. Or even, like, if you just put your cursor on them, I think that happens. Maybe I'm wrong.
For me, they just keep moving around like Harry Potter pictures.
Yeah.
But when they're, like, selected for anything, they start molting, and I agree, Danger Chunk, it's a really nice effect, but a little bit I'm like, I'm not a bird scientist, but you probably shouldn't do this all the time.
I'm so mad. I've drawn 4 birds, and not a single one will go into my water habitat.
Oh.
That is so brutal.
That is very brutal.
So worse.
I am becoming concerned for you guys' ability to create exits.
That's fair.
Yep.
It's okay. I mean, it happens to everyone.
It sounds like it's not happening to you, though.
It is not happening to me. But I wanted to be comforting. I can see that this effort has fallen through, and I'll go back to being a bad winner now.
I think you're doing a great job. Yes, Danger Chunk, you're on my vibe, man. In the chat, they say, this seems to be a game that's kind of struggling with keeping its interface engaging for humans, but in ways that are misrepresentative and potentially harmful to birds, and stares into Lenda Cheng's work. Yes. I was just reading Playing Nature literally yesterday, working on my prelim proposal, and yes, I totally agree. It's like, it's trying very hard to balance what is still, I think she would call an anthrome. Like, these are just biomes designed for people to do things, as opposed to being, like, accurate representatives of a particular environment. And also, my friend, if environmental game studies is your jam, stick around. That's my jam. What's up? Be my friend. I'm here for it. Oh, I get a bird food. Thanks, Anna's hummingbird. You're the best. Let's see. I mean, I got 1 turn left, man. I'm not gonna feed any birds right now. What are you thinking? Unfortunately, my little grassland situation is not setting me up for success here. Because I have this cowbird that is so good, and they've been laying eggs on all other birds, but they don't have any nests themselves. This is not looking good for me, fam.
Yep, me neither.
That's so sad. Alexa, play Despacito. All I really have to my name are dated memes. I love them.
Danger Chunk, that's a really good question. I don't know if you guys have the chat up, so I'll read it. Do you have thoughts on the depictions of the environments too? Like, because they're emphasizing visibility of the backgrounds, they had to be designed in ways that are misrepresentative of these environments. I guess it's also focusing on the parts of these environments that we as humans find charming, rather than what the birds would like to live in. Absolutely, dude. Yes, 100%. Because think about it. So many of these backgrounds have like a little home in it, and it's like, so, I mean, don't get me wrong, like, I'll live here. This place is amazing. But it's like this cute, rustic little home, and they have like a cottage in it, and there's, you know, there is some kind of like dock in these. The home is in the center. Oh my god, you're so right. The home is in the center! You're absolutely right. Yes, literally the human as a signifier is like just right there. Absolutely. And so then what's interesting is, I think, Des, you have it.
Mm-hmm.
Des is using one that doesn't have an actual like human structure in it. And it does feel a bit more removed. Like the only, you know, semblance of human people is this bird feeder, right? And then these weird clusters of Easter eggs. There's also that. I'm not really sure what that's about, but actually I do know what that's about. That's what the eggs look like in the physical game, which is really cool. So like there is the option to sort of remove yourself from sort of, we were talking about this at the beginning of the stream. The digital version of this game sort of positions you as being like the guardian of this nature preserve, and you are then responsible for like taking care of all the birds and stuff, which is interesting. But it still makes the human the kind of most important part of this, and kind of like nothing here would be happening without you, the player, or you, the human, right? Like obviously we know that's not real. That's not really how that works. So I think the game is trying to do something where it's like, it's really balancing the sort of, I feel like the kind of goal of exactly what you were talking about, Danger Chunk, like kind of creating something that is very aesthetically pleasing for people while still trying to foreground the natural, but it still feels very much like the, you know, the natural game, right? Like playing with nature as opposed to sort of playing in nature. It feels very much like you're playing with the sort of definitions and ideas of what the natural is, what the natural looks like, and what it can be and where it can be, as opposed to sort of learning about an actual living environment, like playing in that natural space as opposed to sort of just playing with it. Yeah, and super true. Danger Trunk says, same with the positions of the birds in the cards, which are presented in ways that humans will find most aesthetic, but potentially not how birds see each other. We were joking last week that sometimes it looks like the birds are like shouting at each other, like here. Like my mountain robin and my chickadee are like having a conversation, which is not necessarily the case. It certainly can be, but it does take all of these birds from like North America, for example, which is the base game, and then slaps them into this nature preserve, which certainly happens in some places. There are certainly some aviaries that bring very diverse bird populations together, but it's interesting because it's kind of conflating this image of like here, like the kind of rural natural with the sort of expectation that humans come here to play with birds. Do I even have one of these? Oh, I do. Get over here, now that that matters. I've got all this food and no turns left to play them. That owl. Are you serious? Dude. What? I can't. Did the score populate for you guys?
Not yet,
Not yet.
but I'm assuming that I didn't win.
The owl won, my friend. Not the full game, but they won the round.
They won that round
Unbelievable.
by
And they won by
point.
Oh my, what is happening here?
A worm.
Oh, snap. Yo!
You did
I
it!
did it! That never happens! Yay, go team! I'm just glad the owl
Mine
didn't
is still
win.
going. There you go. Congratulations.
Oh, man. Thank you guys for playing Wingspan.
Congratulations to Janelle. Anytime. This is one of my favorite games.
It really is, man. Like, this is just, I can play this game at any time. Like, drop of a hat, I'm like, yeah, I can go play that for 10 minutes.
Let's go
Same.
play some. Ian.
Okay, real quick, I think there's a thing here from Danger Chunk in the chat. I'm gonna talk about that real quick. They say, so in this case where we are playing with nature, do you think it's better to keep the representation more abstract rather than muddying it by representing it as quote-unquote natural? And I get that this is a stretch because the interface is already making it very abstract. That's a really good question, because there's a sort of intention here of replicating the natural, or at least rendering the natural in this sort of digital space, right? Like, you have this nature preserve, it's open to you, the player, you can come here anytime, you can play online, you can change what your preserve looks like. Like, there's so much control that you have over this natural environment, and of course a way that is not realistic. And so we've been talking about this a bit, right? Like, all the bird facts and stuff they got from, I think it was Cornell's Institute of Ornithology. And so they're sort of using institutional recognized knowledge, turning that into categories, applying those things to these birds in this rendered natural environment. So it's using a lot of like abstract information and ideas and sort of forcing them onto this natural landscape in a way that is certainly aesthetically pleasing to people, right? I mean, like, holy shit, like, we've talked about how beautiful Wingspan is probably for as long as we have ever streamed anything. Like, it is, and I mean, you can't deny it. Like, it is just beautiful, right? And it's very soothing to listen to. Like, it's curated in such a way that humans are gonna have a really nice time. Exactly. So essentializing institutional learning and knowledge is equivalent to being. Absolutely, right? Like, you gain or have this institutional knowledge by playing this game, by engaging with these rules, by participating in this system, and you're kind of perpetuating that knowledge. I don't know if you were here at the beginning, but my partner and I went on a walk recently, and we were like picking out bird songs because we've been playing this game so much. So it's certainly providing knowledge in a way that's very useful and productive. But I still have a lot of questions and reservations about kind of like what it is abstracting and what it's obscuring, and what it's kind of using the natural landscape as a way to sort of distract from. Not in a bad way necessarily. Like, that's just something that we can't really get away from because of our current understanding of how people work with their environment, right? There's still this sort of myth that humans have dominion over, right, as opposed to dominion with things and the natural landscape. So I'm really interested in the ways that, like, Wingspan in particular and other environmental games are sort of exerting this idea of dominion over, where humans have like prime power over the natural environment and over everything with it, and how abstraction is kind of critical to perpetuating that idea, even though practice literally says that that's dumb, don't do that. Humans don't have any power over the environment. Look at the climate crisis. How can we have power? So I'm really interested in stuff like that, and hell yeah, I'll co-pub on Wingspan any day. Sorry, I definitely dominated the conversation there, my friends. I'm very sorry, but you got me going.
You're good.
I wish I had some smart sounding things to add, but for me it's just a really pretty game that's fun.
I mean, that's fantastic, and that's like the allure, right? It is a really pretty game. Even physical copy and digital copy, both of them are meant to be like so aesthetically pleasing and really inviting. So I don't want to say that Wingspan is doing something wrong, right? I don't think that's the case. I do think that there needs to be more attention on the ways in which game environments are encouraging people to participate in those environments, and kind of that feels especially useful because we have a climate crisis going on. So like, it's no small thing, and we need more conversation and attention on kind of like things like this, especially that are meant to be so aesthetically pleasing, and kind of how they're representing that environment and what that sort of means about how we should be acting in our environment. And yeah, Danger Chunk, I'm on the same vibe, man. Like, eco-critical approaches to games, that's where I'm at. Yeah, thank you so much for joining. We have hit the end of our show for the day, but we will be back. Are we playing more Wingspan next week? Yes. Is it the last week of March? I have no idea. Oh no, next week is spring break, my friend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sleep in. Sleep in. We don't need to be up 9:45 Monday morning. We can be back on the 22nd with a friendly semester stream.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so we will be back Monday the 22nd at 9:45 with more Wingspan. Danger Chunk, feel free to join us and bring more environmental chats. I'm always happy to talk. I'm always happy to talk about game environments. That's my jam. So thank you all for being here. Everybody's been great. Thank you all for chatting, and I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.